The Bay Area Council just did a big survey on crime and safety, the perceptions in the Bay Area. And joining us now to talk about it is CEO Jim Wunderman. Thanks for being with us. The results of this survey, a little bit surprising. It sounds like a lot of people are not feeling safe in the Bay Area.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me on. Just a few years ago and over the years, people did not have the tendency to name crime as one of the top issues of concern in the Bay Area. That's changed, and it's become, right now, it's the number 3 issue that gets named behind homelessness and housing. So it's a really big jump in a short period of time. So it's definitely on people's minds. I think they're hearing and seeing more about crime. They're being affected more by crime. And I think there are certain types of crimes that have become pretty prevalent and very visible. And it's getting in people's heads that they no longer live in a safe place. That's a very concerning thing.
And it sounds like it's actually preventing a lot of people from going about their daily lives, avoiding big city downtowns, avoiding public transit.
Yeah, people name public transit as a place where they don't feel safe. And just as we're trying to get people back to downtown areas to stimulate the economy in those areas, get the small businesses back and the restaurants, if people feel unsafe taking transit, they're either going to jam into their cars, which has big quality of life impacts, or they're not going to go. And they're going to find more reasons not to go, back to the office, which is then has more, difficult effects on the urban areas and the downtown. So, it's definitely a problem that we're seeing.
Now, we're talking about Bay Area wide, and a lot of these different cities have, various crime stats, some of them saying things are going up, things are going down. But this is all about perception. And at what point does that become a reality? I guess that's just what you were saying, how it becomes a domino effect.
People are talking about it and they're hearing more reports. We had those very well publicized, organized break-ins of major retail establishments where dozens of people stopped their cars and ran into a Nordstrom's or a major store, and robbed the place and robbed the people in the place, and that gets people's attention, and it's different. We didn't have that before. We also have the auto break-ins, which have become kind of a norm, but it's not a norm we really can accept. I spent a couple of nights, I don't live in San Francisco, I live in the East Bay, but I needed to be in San Francisco for a couple of days. And I thought because our hotels have been pretty empty, I'd spend a couple of nights in a hotel. And when I checked in, of course, they thought I was a tourist, so I was staying in a hotel. And the person at the desk said to me, because I parked my car in the garage, said, "Don't leave anything in your car anywhere in San Francisco." That was what I was instructed by the person in the hotel. That gives you, so every tourist who comes to the city hears that. And then when they go home, they tell folks, you really should maybe avoid San Francisco. It's not safe. So we need to, there is a perception issue, but there's also a reality issue. Certain kinds of crimes have become quite prevalent. And, you can't trick the public. You have to address these issues with serious enforcement, at every aspect for every crime in every community. As you were saying, some communities are feeling this more. People in San Mateo County feel safer than people in Napa and Solano counties. People in Santa Clara and San Francisco, it's somewhere in the middle. But in general, most people in the Bay Area, I think 52% in the poll, didn't qualify the Bay Area as a safe place. Now, this is not okay. We can't accept this. And we have to do things that are serious things. We have to invest in more enforcement. We've got to be more aggressive in our enforcement. And we've got to send a message to the people who perpetrate these crimes. You're not going to get away with it. And there's going to be punishments associated with perpetrating these crimes.
Now, what are you hoping for when it comes to direct impacts of this survey, that this is something that politicians are going to take note of, and police departments? They're all struggling with tight budgets as it is.
Well, it happens to be this is what we call Sacramento Day for the Bay Area Council. So we're meeting with state officials, and I just left the meeting with Attorney General Rob Bonta and asked him this question. And he relayed a number of things that his office is currently doing to address a number of these issues. So we want to hold our public officials accountable, whether it's at the state or local levels to make sure that this is top of their agenda, and that they're very, very, they maintain their focus on it, and that they deliver the resources that are needed to the agencies that are associated with crime fighting in order to be successful. And it's hard in a lot of jurisdictions. You've got a number of folks who come together. You've got the district attorney, you've got the police department, you've got the courts, adult probation. A whole number of folks work together, but they don't really work together sometimes. They're sort of stovepiped. So it's important for the political leadership to bring people together to work together in constructive ways, and not have a debate about, this isn't really a time to just have a debate about the cause of crime. It's a debate. The debate has to be how we deal with crime. At the same time, we're looking underneath it, what is causing this, and how do we address, criminal justice in a way that doesn't set us back toward, the times when, the effects were racial injustice. And we saw, if you go to visit a prison, it's all people of color and those kinds of things. So law enforcement has to be even-handed. I think police departments have done generally a good job at adapting over the last few years and getting better training and mixing up their departments so the departments look more like the community. I think that's generally been the case in the Bay Area. So, let's do a better job of supporting our police and supporting the criminal justice institutions, and making sure that while we do it in a fair way, we don't provide a means for the criminal elements to take advantage of our desire to have a just society, which I think is something that's happened.
And before you go, just want to ask you, what do you think the repercussions of this, if it continues, these high numbers of just general fear in our communities could have in the Bay Area when it comes to our quality of life?
Well, what happens is that people don't feel safe going out. They tend to stay home. If they don't feel safe in their community, they might leave their community. And, we could suffer the implications of that. So, safety first. It's one of the, first orders of business of government is to provide a safe environment for the people. And, that's what the Attorney General said he feels his job is to do, and it should be. And that's what every mayor and every police chief and every district attorney and everyone involved in this should be, that's the customer, is the member of the public, and we need to serve that customer and make them feel safe because they are safe. And right now people are not feeling that way, and they're either experiencing crime, and no one should have to do that, or they're hearing about it from a friend, a neighbor, a family member. We need to commit to changing this and make, the Bay Area has had a reputation of being a safer place, and we need to reestablish that reputation. We're very committed as an organization to pushing the envelope on this, but we don't make the decisions. We're not a government agency, so we have to influence folks in government agencies to basically do the right thing here.
All right. It was an eye-opening survey. Jim Wunderman with Bay Area Council. Thanks for being with us today on CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for having me on.